paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted, and I'm excited about this one because I'm going home. Yeah, okay, I know some of you are sitting there thinking I say that every time I go to anywhere in the Midwest or anywhere west of West Virginia, but no, I'm actually going home. Those folks who know me know I'm from Central Missouri. Other than my time in the service, spent my whole life in Central Missouri until I retired, moved out here to North Carolina, which has its own weirdness, let me tell you. But let me tell you this story real quick. I was trying to get into this beautiful, incredibly historical, incredibly amazing town. And it's called Hermann, Missouri. As many of you know, I've talked about it before. And I'm not going to be insulted. Get insulted, grow up. I mean, this is not an insult. But the people there, the houses are built right up to the sidewalk because that was the old European way. The people there are directly related to the German immigrants that came here, actually from Philadelphia, came there. And they're German. I mean, they don't want to talk about things. It took me years before I could finally break in and get one ghost hunt in that town. Got a ghost hunt at a little cafe that was up there. And once I got in, it was crazy. I went back there over and over again. I ended up writing my first book about Hermann, and it was called, as you see, Hermann Shadows. And it was a lot of places that kept me, and they kept inviting me to other places constantly. And before I was done, I ended up writing Hermann Shadows 2 of Wine and Spirits because, guys, the town is crazy haunted. But they wouldn't talk about it until, I guess, somebody started it. So I got started there, and suddenly I got more hauntings than you can shake a stick at. And last year in October, you guys saw the video. I did a video on it. I went back to Hermann in October of last year and had 2 more haunted places to go check out. And did videos. It was exciting to be there. So much neat stuff happens. The town is just a beautiful place, incredibly haunted. And after I left, some folks started ghost tours there. And I want to introduce you to one of them, probably one of the better ones, and that is Stephanie McKague. And she's got Hermann History and Haunts, right, Steph?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And guys, we've been talking a little bit. She's found even more haunted places than I got to deal with, places I didn't know about. I understand the history, but no idea. And I'm going to turn it over to Steph and let's talk some more about Haunted Hermann.
Okay, let's do.
So you've been doing this now for three years, say?
Yes, I've been doing it for 3 years.
All right. And you was telling me you've gotten a lot of evidence just from doing the ghost tours.
I do have evidence, and when people take my tour, I do share that with them as we walk locations, pictures that we capture from those locations.
Okay. And let's see. So what's your favorite spot there? Let's start right out with your favorite place.
Oh my gosh, my favorite spot to go to is actually the courthouse.
Oh, yeah. Great adventures there. What have you seen or what have you had?
So when we talk about certain things that have taken place at the courthouse, there is a light on the street that actually stands in front of where the old courthouse used to be. Like the first courthouse built on Courthouse Hill was 1842. So when I'm standing there talking, that light will go out while we are talking about things that go on there.
Okay. Now, would that be where that German man was hung for the murder of his son-in-law?
Yes, Henry Holland, he was hung there in 1875.
And it was for the murder. His wife and daughter ended up going to prison. I think the daughter got out quick. The wife was there for a while. Am I remembering that correctly?
So his daughter, Wilhelmina, she was sent to the Missouri State Penitentiary, where she was only there for like 3 months. She died from tuberculosis.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then Anna, his wife, she was also sentenced to be hung. But her sentence got commuted the week of Henry's hanging, and she got sent to the Missouri State Penitentiary. She actually died there at the age of 74.
And if I remember right, they actually offered to let her go, and she said, "I've got nowhere to go," and asked to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not, you might know more about that. Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but I know that she died at the Missouri State Penitentiary. Nobody claimed her remains, so her remains were buried there.
Okay. Yeah, the place is interesting. In fact, if I remember right, the murder actually happened across the river in another county, but they tried it there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the location of the Holland Sheets farm is at. That's one of my goals, is to find it.
And so you found that much of the history anyway, and he made his peace with God and confessed, and was hanged right there on the hill.
Right there on the hill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was August last year that somebody was driving by the courthouse and saw somebody walking on the roof of the courthouse, saw a man walking on the courthouse. They called the police. They came to investigate, but there was no man there.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of lost my contacts with the PD, so.
Yeah, I have a friend who works at the courthouse, so she gave me that story.
Oh, wow. That was him then?
They think that was him. Yeah.
Now, there was one officer working there who contacted his boss, who called me because he saw a woman in a full pre-Civil War, big, huge gown walking down the street, who just disappeared.
My husband has actually seen her.
Really? Any idea who she might be? I've got a theory, but do you have any ideas?
So, well, when we tell the stories at the riverfront, there was actually the big Hatchie explosion at the riverfront. There was also a lady named, what's her name? Ashford. She actually burned on the Washington steamboat that caught fire. She was the casualty on that steamboat disaster. And then there was a young lady named Hattie Parrott who was getting off of one of the steamboats, and she fell into the water. Now, it could be one of those ladies, or it could be the lady who's missing from the White House Hotel.
That's been my theory all along, is it was the lady who was missing. Go ahead and tell that story. I think folks have heard me tell it here, but go ahead.
Well, from what I tell, there was a young lady who came to stay at the White House Hotel. And while she was staying there, she took her wedding dress out and laid it on the bed, and then went for a walk, but she never returned. And so the White House Hotel still has clothing, and they have her wedding dress. Now, the White House Hotel recently has new owners, and they have redone some of the rooms, and the bridal suite is what they call it. They actually had her wedding dress displayed in the bridal suite with a story about how she went missing. Well, people staying there were like, this is really creepy. We don't want to see that. So they've since put her wedding dress back in the attic.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when they found those suitcases in there, and all the other owners had just left them and didn't touch them in the attic, but somebody opened them up and found out who it was and figured it out. So
yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Now, when I was a cop there in Owensville, and I'm going back almost 30 years, there were people who were living there when it was low-income housing, had apartments. And they were telling me stories about seeing a lady with a basket coming down the steps who would disappear. When they walked into their room, there was a mist that would suddenly just vanish into the wall. Have you heard any of those stories?
I have not, but we do have some really good pictures that people that have taken my tour have gotten from the White House Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got one of, it was a group of people in front of the mirror there at that, I guess it's a bar. Mm-hmm. And there was a really super white face that had nobody was there with it. Everyone else was fine. This was like a super, almost like a Greek statue white.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. I've caught a face, actually 2 times we caught the same face in the, which is what they call the bridal suite, the second floor room in the window looking out at us. We've caught that twice. And then just this past August, I think it was August, somebody caught the face of it looked like a riverboat captain looking out the window.
At the White House?
At the White House Hotel. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I had people who saw a figure of a captain in the window of the German school where they have the big display on riverboat captains.
Haven't caught him yet.
Yeah, he didn't like me much. He would agree to talk to me when he found out I used to be in the Coast Guard and was assigned to the river, but he won't talk to many people.
Yeah. I'm hoping he will show up one of these days on our pictures. So weird thing that 2 of my great aunts married William Heckman's sons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've got the book by Ms. Heckman. Was that Dolores? I can't remember her name, but
Heckman Schrader. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got that book.
So I have my Aunt Anna and my Aunt Irene. So my Aunt Anna married John Heckman, and then my Aunt Irene married Norman Heckman.
And I think it helped when I was trying to make contact with the captain. He would set my lights off and such as that. I never got to see him, but he would communicate more when I was talking about the stories she told in the book about him.
Yeah.
I think it was her father, not her grandfather. Her grandfather was the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Her father was William Heckman's son. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Herman is so full of this stuff. Trying to move down to the old the Buy the Book, which I'm not sure if it's even a bookstore anymore. I know she sold it.
It still is. It's still Buy the Book. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Talk about that location as well. We stopped there. And a lot of times we'll have people on our tour that had just been in Buy the Book that day, and they'll talk about the lady who tells about the dog, the ghost dog.
Is she still there then?
Still there. She is still.
Oh, that's sweet.
And she just saw the ghost dog last October because we had a tour and some people went in there that day, and she had just saw the dog that day, and she told them about it.
She sold so many of my books. When the other folks took it over but hadn't reopened it yet, I went to see them, and I don't know if they were not interested. They talked about my books but never contacted me again.
Yeah.
May need to get hold of her.
Well, when we decided to start this, my husband,
mm-hmm.
and he just helps me with that because he's not. But I was afraid of how the people of town were going to take me doing it. But since then, they've actually reached out to my husband, and he's going to start teaching a local history at the high school now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
There is a lot of amazing history there. We were talking about the riverfront. Have you got anything on the old Masonic Lodge down there?
We walk by the Masonic Lodge, and I don't talk about it because I don't know enough about it. So maybe you can help me with that, because we walk right past it, but I just don't know enough to tell a story about it.
Well, the book you've got of mine, the first Herman book, has an article has a story about it in there. In fact, I think it's a chapter. But the guy who lived there at the time, and he still lives in town, his wife has passed, and he ended up selling it to the guy who owns it now. But his wife wanted pictures of the area between the top floor and the attic looking for leaks. And he reached up with his camera, took pictures, come back down. There is a face in one of those pictures. It's in the book.
Okay, I got to find this.
Of what looks like a man with a bandage across his head. And there were some people injured during the battle there at, well, wasn't much of a battle, but during the Civil War in Herman. And I think one actually got killed, fell off his horse or something.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a face of what I took to be a soldier with a bandage on his head.
Okay, I'm going to have to find that.
Absolutely. And then I was in there doing a ghost hunt for him and his wife. They were just such sweet people. They were the ones who helped start Ferals in Peril. And that's why I got to doing it with them, because they were such good people and so nice to me. But I'm sitting there with the K2 meter, and I had a God, what do they call those things? Ovilus 1 of the originals. And as I was asking this spirit, thinking I was talking to someone who drowned in the river, for a name, he said Mark. I said, all right, great, Mark. And as soon as I said Mark and opened my mouth, it said Paul. Okay, are you Mark or Paul? Didn't get anything. Said, well, I'm going to call you Mark. And then when I opened my mouth, it said Peter.
Oh, gosh.
And while I'm sitting there trying to figure this out, I look off to my side, and there is a copper plate rendering of the Last Supper. Oh. And I said, are you just naming off disciples? And it's the only time I ever heard Ovilus 1 laugh. It started laughing through the Ovilus at me.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, there was a lot in that building. I ghost hunted that building several times. And, yeah, well, I'll have to get with you. We'll chat sometime. Again, you're always welcome to use any of my stories.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You are one of the reasons I started the tour. You
scared you?
You and Troy Taylor out of Alton, because I would always take his tours and I'd buy his books. And when I saw that Herman had books, I bought what I could. And yeah, so I thought it was to tell your stories or to tell whatever I found out to the people that visit Herman.
No, feel free to use mine. I told the other person running tours the exact same thing. I come back once every couple of years and run a tour for Ferals in Peril. We do a trolley tour, but you guys are more than welcome to use anything that I've got there.
Well, thank you.
We talked about Lindy's. Have you ever done anything there? Is that part of your tour?
It's not. My tour is a walking tour. So we walk for 1 mile, but it takes us about 2 hours to get through everything. So we walk.
Gosh, how about, what is it? What is the name of that restaurant there? They just changed the name shortly before I left. And it's a distillery now, and it's right across from where they park the trolleys.
Fernway.
That's Fernway.
Fernway, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
it is haunted.
Oh, I've heard a lot of stories about that. What can you add to it?
Well, I know that at one time Fernway was our first high school here in Herman. But it was built in, I think, 1867, and then 1897 was when it became a high school. But there is a story of a little girl. They do see a little girl upstairs. I don't know the story behind her, why she's there. But there is a mirror that is behind the bar in the restaurant area. And they've had to replace that mirror a couple of times. But when it breaks all the way up, and they'll find a little handprint on the mirror, like a
wow
print. There is at the bar, when they put the bar stools up at the end of the night, inevitably the second bar stool in will fall to the floor.
Really? I hadn't heard that one.
They don't know why. They have cameras that are constant feed on it. They never see what knocks it over. They've tried to knock it over themselves, like by walking by it or banging, but it never falls. But
that's.
And then they've also heard a gentleman saying hello to them on the stairs. So I'm not sure what he is. He might Now, like I said, I talked to you about J.W. Fisher. Fisher was actually hung at the end of the Iron Road. So the building known as Fernway was actually there when J.W. Fisher was hung. So maybe it's J.W. Fisher's spirit that attached itself to Fernway.
His story is mighty intriguing too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how he tried to escape and actually did escape once. It was an amazing job.
Yeah. Then the townspeople came and took him to the jail and then hung him at the end of the Iron Road. Now, when we are at the courthouse and we do talk about J.W. Fisher, sometimes people, like if they park at the courthouse and walk over to where our tour begins, their phone will read SOS on it.
Wow. I've never heard that. That's awesome.
And so it actually happened to my husband's phone. One night we were given the tour and we had just got up there to talk about J.W. Fisher and his phone went SOS.
Now, you mean the letters are actually on there?
Yeah, the letters S showed up on.
Okay.
Doing that. So
well, you're teaching me things about Herman that I didn't even know, so that's pretty awesome. Trying to think what else. Of course, we do the trolley tour, so we did a lot of at the old cemetery. Have you been up to there much?
We do not take our tour to the cemetery, but I do go there by myself. Now, I do let people know that take my tour where the cemetery is located. They can go there after our tour. I did have 3 young ladies from Springfield, Missouri that decided to go there one night after our tour, and they captured one of the best pictures that I have, and it is a man in a top hat walking through the cemetery.
Oh, I got to see that. Yes.
I will send that to you.
But that's awesome.
Scared the bejesus out of them. They were calling me and they're like, you will not believe what happened to us. And they were standing at Charles Eidson's tomb looking up the hill toward George Barry's tomb.
Right. So they were looking past the witch's grave.
Yes, they were past the witch's grave. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first time I went there, well, it wasn't the first time I went there, but the first time I went there to photograph, I thought for an article I wrote for a newspaper, a picture of the witch's stone. And guys, you got to see this stone sometime. If you haven't seen me show it before, it is so intricately carved with skull and crossbones on it. It's incredible. I don't know who, I have no talent for that. Somebody's got a lot of talent to not break those off. But I got up there, and just as I was walking up to take the picture, a big black crow landed right on top of the stone.
That's scary.
And stared at me. And of course, I'm thinking, perfect shot, because crows are a familiar for witches. This is a perfect shot. I got my camera up there, and it was dead. Batteries were dead as a doornail. I just bought them, just put them in, and I backed away. The bird was there. I backed away, got to my truck, ran down to the Casey's, and got another set of batteries. And of course, the bird was gone when I got back there. And the original batteries worked fine after that.
Oh, yep.
But oh God, I wish I could have got that photo of that crow there staring at me with those deep black eyes.
And there's always flowers at the witch's grave, and nobody knows who puts them there.
Now I've never seen flowers on the witch's grave.
Well, when we go up there, flowers up there on the witch's grave. I don't know who puts them there.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And the folks should know, I don't know if you've done the research. I went back and tried. Other people have tried. We cannot figure out who's buried there. There's no record of it in the actual stuff, the paperwork. And I wonder, because George Bear is very close to there, and he was buried outside the graveyard at that time. I wonder if this area was outside the graveyard then.
That's interesting. I often wondered if it didn't have something to do with the Masonics. Well, that was my thought on it.
And that thought, others have said that, even Masons have said this is an old Mason thing, and very well could be. I don't know, but why wouldn't it be listed with the others?
And like you said, it could be because it was outside of the cemetery. That's why it's not there.
If you was a Mason, you would not. Well, I can't imagine you being outside that cemetery.
No, No.
It wasn't a Catholic cemetery or anything. So
No.
George Bear was outside because they blamed him for nearly killing everyone in Hermann, which wasn't at all justified, but
Yeah.
they had to be mad at somebody.
They did. And he might be the one roaming the cemetery,
Very likely. Could be. Because he was not treated properly in life.
Yeah. He had
So, go ahead.
It was a very short life. He was only 39 when he died. So
Yeah, and a lot of unhealthy time in there. I don't know what kind of sickness he had. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, tell me about some of the other haunts you've checked out or that you've toured about.
Well, we go talk at Hermanhoff, the winery. I know you've been to that location. We do talk there. I think just a couple of Octobers ago, the man in the top hat actually showed up in the cellars to somebody who was going to take their self-guided tour during Oktoberfest. But the lady at the meat counter there said, no, he's not real. So,
of course, when I was living there, I went there multiple times and they always told me the same thing. The owner is in California and we have to talk to him. And they wouldn't give me a way to contact him. So it was somebody on the Perils and Peril board that got us in there the time I finally got in.
Yeah. And, the people do talk about the things that happen there. My husband worked there in the 80s. And he said, they would send boys up every time during Oktoberfest or My Fest to go get the drunk that walked upstairs. And there's nobody up there. Now, there is a window on the second floor, the very last window. Sometimes we do capture what looks like a man looking down at us. But I had a lady on my tour last April. I didn't know that she worked there. And I started to talk about that room. And she's like, I work here. I know that room all too well. I do not go in there. It gives me the creeps.
Wow.
So she's like, my office is clearly on the other side of the building, but I don't go in that room.
That's cool. Hey, Stephanie, I need to step away for just a minute. Would you stand by and I'll be right back?
I will.
Guys, if I'm talking too much here, let me know. I can't help it. I loved Hermann. I'm a big fan of history. I love history, and there was so much history, plus the spirits that went along with it. The guy who was hung in the old courthouse, he treated me so well. Every time I went in, he would go out of his way to let me know he was there and wanted to communicate, usually by rods. And there was the spirits upstairs that told the girls who was singing Folsom City Blues or Folsom Prison Blues, whatever that song is, told them to shut up. And I had a recording of it. It was over the obelisk, but out of nowhere it said silence. And they did. They messed up the words. I think that irritated the ghosts. Well, I'm not going to mess this up. I'm going to show you this. And folks, I'll be right back.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com. The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives.
Yeah, guys, I can't put it any better than that. But to join the UNX network is so easy. The Unexplained network. We went back to our original title, and after 4 years calling it UNX, I have a hard time breaking that. But the Unexplained network has some really great, top-notch, super shows. We've got so many new ones. I haven't even caught up with them all yet. But we still got Michelle Roos out of Iowa. Her show is really good. She does ghost stuff just like I do. She takes tours over into Scotland, Ireland, England. She's really good at that. So she's got plenty of stories and really good guests as well. I've done so much other stuff with all these other people. The folks from Iron City Paranormal, I worked with them, or I was with one of their ghost hunts in Blennerhassett Hotel in West Virginia. And those guys were top notch. Now they've got a show on here. There's so much other stuff, UFOs, a lot of UFO stuff. To join up with the UNX Network, you go to unxnetwork.com and drop down a little bit. There's some boxes to fill in, and that's all it takes. But what you get out of that is so much. The blog just really has been crazy lately. We were ahead on the Tic Tacs. Now, before the regular news will tell you there's a new person missing, and I'm sure you all know about so many folks in the zero energy and UFO movement that's disappearing or dying suspiciously. And the blog is ahead of it. Well, they know before you find out on the news. That's pretty wild. We also have other editions you get. You get the magazine if you're a member, and the magazine comes out monthly. If you're a member, it's sent to you by email, and you can also order the regular one. I've had several stories in them. I've done stories, in fact, most recently on the conspiracy theories surrounding all these scientists who are disappearing and dying. So a lot of neat stuff on the UNX Network. You should really consider checking us out. And the shows are free. Most of them are on YouTube. Just go to unxnetwork.com or come to YouTube and type in Unexplained Network, and you'll find our stories, some of these great guests like Stephanie here, and check us out. But I want to get back to Hermann because, God, I love that town. We were talking about the old cemetery. What about some of the other places you hit?
Of course, the White House Hotel. We did talk about that. Go ahead.
No, there's just a lot of stories attached to that. A lot of them come from when it was a low-income apartments. And then the folks who owned it there for many, many years would not mention the ghosts. No. The last owners actually started running haunted. More, what do you call it? They weren't ghost tours. They were more ghost fun times.
It's hard to say because I did go on those tours. That's another reason what me to do my own tours. But owner there, he doesn't like for people to know that it's haunted. And I'm like, well, they're gonna find out, that it's haunted. Yeah. But the concert hall, we do stop at the concert hall and we talk about the concert hall. My great-great-grandfather was Philip Kuhn, who helped Bausch build the concert hall. So we talk about that location, where they think it is haunted by the town blacksmith. His name was Henry Honeck Jr. So we do talk about that location. And I've had my own experience in that location.
Well, what happened?
Well, in the ladies' restroom, I felt like there was somebody with me, and I could hear like there was somebody with me, but this was before I even knew that it was haunted. And I told my husband, I said, I could swear up and down there was somebody in there with me. Well, one of the ladies that was on my tour last summer, she couldn't wait till we got to that location so she could tell me what happened to her in the bathroom. It was the same thing that happened to me. And I was like, I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever figure out, is that the blacksmith or is that something else there?
I don't know. Hard to say. We're going to keep it as the blacksmith for now until we find out otherwise. But my great-grandfather's picture does hang still behind the bar in there. So.
Oh, wow.
See that.
There is a house right there in front of the river, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was a B&B until just a few years ago. The lady stopped doing it, and that place was really wild, haunted. But it turned out there's a portal there.
Is it Charles home?
Charles Eitzman? Yeah.
His that you're talking about?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We do stop there and we take pictures of that location. Sometimes people will get a green orb in the last window on the second floor.
Really?
Have got an image of what appears to be a man looking out the window at us from there.
Have you talked to the lady who lives there, or does she still live there? I don't even know.
Well, it's hit or miss on if they're there or not. So I don't really even know who owns it now. They don't use it as a bed and breakfast or anything now. Right. It's a private residence, but it's hit or miss if they're there. So I don't even know who owns it now.
Oh, you should hear her stories. They will amaze you. The best one, she had a workman in there working on the something, I don't know, but he was on a scaffolding. And he was working on, I don't know, something on the heating or air conditioning or something. And he just realized he really needed that particular tool. And he left it at the bottom. And then he felt something. He looked around and that tool had raised up two levels and was hovering there. So he ran out the door and would not finish the job until she was there with him.
See that?
Charles Eitzman, I'm telling you, it had to be him.
That's what I would say too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was very proud of that house, and if she's keeping it up, then he's going to help.
Yep. Now,
so do you spend much time getting off? Do you get on the main street there on 100?
We do. We get on. Well, we go down 100, and then we go down Schiller. We hit 4th Street, and then come back on 19 at Market.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of stuff there. It's not the Wine Valley Inn. What's it called now? The Crown Suites?
Yes, there's a lot there at Crown.
Oh, yeah. Have you done any work there? Has anyone come on and helped you with what's going on? Because the folks who work there used to talk about it a lot.
They don't really say a whole lot about it. The stories I tell are what I saw in your book. And then I also tell stories that my husband's a teacher in town, so a lot of students that work there, they tell him things that happen there, like shadow things move, scares them to death.
Yeah. How about the next building down? It was part of it. I don't know if these folks are still running it or not, but the next building down from that was also part of when it was Wine Valley Inn, at least.
Are you talking about the Heidelberg Hotel? Are you talking about?
No, the Heidelberg I was in a long time ago. No, this is going down the other street, kind of towards that restaurant with the airplane.
Okay, yes. No, I haven't heard anything about that, other than I think somebody committed suicide in that building.
There was many reports of people who were there calling the front desk because there was a verbal domestic between a man and a woman in a room, and it was getting violent.
Okay.
And every time they went in there was nothing there. And one point, workmen called the police directly because they thought it was a domestic going on, and there wasn't supposed to be anyone in the building. And again, police showed up, checked it out. There was nobody in there.
Okay. Well, we do talk about the Showboat Theater too. We do talk about that. Yeah.
Have you ever been in there as far as with the ghost stuff?
We haven't went in there like, or anything like that. We've just went in there and toured it, and he told us some of the stories that have happened to him in there. And so, yeah.
Did you see the photos we got from there?
I did not.
Oh, we was running it used to be called the WISP Conference, Women in Supernatural, I don't know. But I was helping them to run a ghost tour because they were from another area. And I was getting local ghost people there to lecture. And I had one of my old investigators was on the stage just taking pictures as we set up for, oh gosh, I used to run St. Charles Ghost Tours. Anyway, he was there showing what a 1930s seance would look like, a con artist job. So he was setting up, my people were photographing, and they got a picture of a head and shoulders in white sitting on the in the bench, sitting in the seating.
Oh goodness.
And then another one seat down from it, as if they were just now materializing.
Wow.
And we got a picture another time. They let me hunt that 4 or 5 times for charity, money going to help rebuild the theater. And we got the white shadow, the white mist, human shaped, coming down the aisle. So a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. They had jazz music that starts playing for no reason. They hear that. They now have a ghost cat they've named George. So they hear George meowing, but they can't ever find him.
Didn't know about that one either. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much at Hermann. You've got so much to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, it was said that next door is Bar Vin, which I don't know what it used to be. But it was said that there was somebody that was burned in the kitchen at Bar Vin, and they made their way out to the streets. But we because you can't find that story anywhere, I think maybe the person got burned at the Showboat, because the basement, there's a kitchen down, and there's a door that leads to Bar Vin's basement. And we think maybe that person got burned at the Showboat, went across to Bar Vin to make their way out of the building. We can't find anything about that person who got burned in the kitchen.
I had not heard that one, but I did investigate the Bar Vin last October.
Did you?
And there is spirits in the basement, which is, folks, if you're ever in Hermann, a really cool little bar in the basement, kind of like a speakeasy. But yeah, it's quite haunted.
Okay, well.
And the ghost was throwing glasses against the wall and shattering them in front of people.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
I talked to a young lady there. If you go back some of my shows, I got one from back in probably November about that. And she said the ghost kind of had a crush on her. And I think that's true.
Now,
but,
she the one that was also working at Fernway?
Yes.
Yeah. She took us through Fernway and gave us a tour of all the sightings that she had there at Fernway.
Okay. So, yeah, and Fernway, when it was the River's Edge.
Yes, the River's Edge.
A lady working there was telling me, she was actually on the tour, but she was telling me about someone quit there and went to work at the Barrel across the, I guess, kind of catty corner and across Highway 100.
Yeah.
And she had taken a coffee pot with her, one of the Mr. Coffee type. And this gal went to get it back. And she went into the Barrel and demanded it back. The woman started arguing with her. And she said suddenly that coffee pot raised up and shot up against the wall and shattered. And she told the gal, okay, you can keep it, and walked out. But I think that was the Fernway ghost.
Oh, okay. That could be.
We were investigating the courthouse, and we got a little girl giggling. And in fact, it was so loud and so real, I thought somebody had somehow gotten in there while we were in there. This was at 10 o'clock at night or something. I made everyone lock down where they were at, and I searched from the top of the dome all the way down into the basement. Could never find that girl, but I've always wondered if that ain't the same girl that's down in Fernway.
Well, it could be. You know, they do hear children laughing and playing out there still to this. She could be making her way, back and forth.
Well, I think if ghosts know we're looking for them and they want some attention, they'll come to us. And
yes, yeah, I think, and I think too, since I've been talking about the stories out loud, I think it's giving them, and this may sound a little weird, but I think it's giving them energy, and it's giving them the ability to be present.
Oh, I've no doubt. I'm sure you're right. So how long you been doing the tours?
I started doing the tours in 2020.
Okay.
September 2023, our first ever tour. We actually did something on it at the White House Hotel.
Okay. And since then, do you do them all year long, or are you doing them strictly on October, September type?
I try to do them all year long. I start in March and we run March, June, the middle to the end of June. I take a break in July and August because it's hot. And like I said, we do a walking tour. But I still will do a tour. If somebody calls me and wants a private tour, I'll still do it. But I just noticed that in July and August, a lot of people don't want to be walking around town.
Yeah, there's a lot of heat there, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of heat. And then we start back up in September, October, November, and we end the weekend before Thanksgiving.
There is a bank that is now like a cocktail bar.
Yes. On Schiller Street.
Yeah, is that the Vault? I can't remember the name of the place.
Well, now it's a private residence.
Oh, they closed the bar. Okay.
Now it's a private residence. And then right across there is Chalet Luzerne. It's a little bed and breakfast. It actually was the first that was built on Schiller Street. So we do talk a little bit about the history of that house.
Okay. When I was at an antique store there, my wife sold antiques out of a store up there. And a lady came in there and found out I had the books and was telling me about a house. It's kind of across the street from the courthouse, from the front of the courthouse. Never could quite figure out which one, that had a Union soldier or something, that kind of a uniform.
Okay.
In the house. And they'd seen that ghost multiple times. Had you heard anything about that one?
I have not heard anything about that.
I never could catch up on her. I could never get more information. So I had very little also. The Heidelberg you mentioned, what is that called now?
So the Heidelberg has it has a little store in it now, some boutique, and then also there's like a candy shop in there.
Mm-hmm.
But
and
rooms upstairs, Heidelberg, and a lady and her daughter, I think, were staying in one of the rooms, and they woke up to find a woman at the foot of their bed one night. And they were not happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you realize that this place is haunted? She's like, well, yeah.
Okay, now you know about the history of that place.
I know some history of that place. I know the Heidelberg was where Henry Honeck, the town blacksmith, was actually shot and killed by William Splendor, the town tailor. They had a feud, and that day they had been out skating and drinking. Their feud still continued, and I guess he decided he was going to end it. Found Henry there and shot, killed, died on the pool table in the Heidelberg.
Mm-hmm. I honestly did not realize that was that building. I'd heard about the murder, but I thought it was across the street for some reason. But okay. When I was in the Heidelberg, I found out it had been a brothel at one time upstairs.
I think there was a woman who had one of those abortions done in there. So they think she was the woman standing at the foot of the bed.
Yeah, we knew there was spirits there. I had a couple of sensitives who could both sense it, but it would not contact us. We ended up going downstairs, all but one woman, and she said she would be able to contact her, and she did. Said she's just miserable and hates men.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she doesn't like men because she blames them for her lifestyle. But she did. Was willing to talk to women, which she said it was a woman and her daughter who's seen her. That kind of rings true.
Now, I know some people that work there, they do feel like they get touched a lot in those stores, but that's all I know about that.
Okay. Anything else on that line? I remember stories. I was never able to nail them down. I do mention them when I do the tour of what's the name of that little restaurant that's got the world's greatest French fries and good burgers? Sharp's Corner. Yes.
Now, it's said that Sharp's Corner has one of their old, um, customers that comes in and sits at the bar, and people see him, and then he disappears. Um, but I don't know if that's true or not. But
I've heard the same stories, and I got it directly from the people who said, I saw him, I remember him, I knew him my last 20 years. And he hadn't passed away, but maybe in the 90s.
yeah, not too long ago, his picture and his fiddle are still hanging up there in the corner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Herman's got so much stories. Is there any place you've been wanting to get into?
Oh gosh. Well, I really want to know more about it's right across. Why isn't it? It's the Hermanoff building. It's right across from the 10 Mill. It's next to the White House Hotel. I feel like sometimes it's hard for people to open up to you. Like, when you first out, it's hard to get people to want to open up.
It took forever to get people, but once that first domino fell, like I said, I had more than I could handle.
Yeah. And for my walking tour, like I said, it takes us at least 2 hours to get around. So I wanted to add some new stuff to my tours, but I realized that these people haven't heard my stories, that I tell. But sometimes I'd like to just have a new story to add or a different location. But right now, this is what I have, and that's what I'm going with. So.
All right. Well, Stephanie, I'm afraid I'm just almost out of time, but it's been fun, and I appreciate you coming on and letting me yak about Hermann, because I miss Missouri, and I miss that town in particular.
Yeah. Well, the next time you come to Hermann, look me up so we can talk in person and go check out some places together.
I'll do that, and send me. I got your email address here, I think. I've been communicating over Messenger, but
yeah.
I'll look up some of those photos we've got and send them to you, and maybe some of the videos from that. What is the name of that? It's a new winery. It's only been open about a year, and it's over on Highway 19, I guess. Darn, the same lady who owns that little Bar View.
Okay.
Owns this place. And we ghost hunted that one last October, and she invited me in, invited us in to do it. Another group, friends of mine, have been going back in there, and a lot of stuff going on. It was just really incredible what all happened there.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah,
it's not on your tour. It wouldn't be that close, but if you ever do a trolley tour, it'd be great on it.
Interested in it, so I definitely would do it.
All right. Well, again, you're available at that phone number.
Yes.
It's 573-619-1179. And you're on Facebook under Hermann's History and Haunts and HermannsHistoryandHaunts.com.
Yes. Yes.
How big a tours do you usually have?
So the biggest tour I've had has been around 20 people.
Okay. That's a fair-sized tour. Get much bigger, they can't hear you.
I know, and that's what I worry about. So I like it 20 or under.
Mm-hmm.
I just last week for 10. So, and that's
a nice number because you get to know each other. They get to know you. They get to talk to you and all of that good stuff.
Ask questions, and I have time to answer them if I know the answers. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Stephanie, would you hang on for just a second? I'll be right back with you, but I am going to have to go. So talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I know I should have let her talk more, but God, there was so much going on in Hermann, and I do miss it. In fact, that's when they called me up, say, hey, if you want to come down here, these folks want you to investigate their winery, their bar. It's just such a neat little town, and once they accept you, you're golden. Like I said, I got that first domino to drop with that one little cafe, and suddenly, bam, I am up to my armpits in ghosts and everything else. So, hey, again, unxnetwork.com. That is the Unexplained Network. You can join. You can join easily. It's just filling out some boxes there. Again, you get the blog, which is really been busy, especially since all these disappearances and strange deaths in the UFO field. And the newsletter comes out, talks about who on what shows are going well, what new shows are popping up. That comes out sometimes a couple of times. And like I said, guys, we got the magazines. I did this one, was last year, just about this time. It was called Last Call at the Devil's Diner. That was the old diamonds on Route 66. I used to ghost hunt it several times. I was on the very first and third investigations ever done there. And the place was just insanely haunted. I did tours there after that for charity, actually for a library in Pacific, but they got hold of the use of that building for a ghost tour. And I did 3 or 4 several times a couple of years. And the place was just crazy. We got one set of folks on my tour got a photo of a kid holding his neck weird. And there is reports that a kid was hit by a car and brought him in, teenager, and he died there back in the 60s. So a lot of stuff was going on, but it got hit by a tornado a year ago, March of last year. And it's gone. I mean, there just was very little left of it. So I was there a lot, and that's why I wrote that article. But the magazine's got all kinds of great writers, and I think you should check it out. Again, it's free if you're a member. And I'm going to go ahead and step out. Sorry for keeping you long. Sorry for talking too much. It's just, I really love that place. So I want you guys to do me a favor. It's getting warm now. There's ghost tours in every town. Get out, enjoy them, learn the history. Ghost tours get a lot of history, always. And as you do it, I want you guys to just stay spooked. Good night.